my screen. All right. All right. So I'm gonna walk you through the basic steps. I don't expect you to memorize this. The reason I'm having you do it real quick right now is so that because what's happened in the past is that people have tried to do it on their own when I do the instruction only online and gotten sort of lost with it on their own and given up. And I don't want any given up. And so I want to walk you through it right now to show you that it's possible for you to do it and that you can do it on your own. Okay, so I'd like you, first of all, we're going to need some data. We're going to get that data from the CDC. So let me grab that and I'll put that somewhere useful.
You notice Google Docs in your folder for
I can, yeah, I'll post it.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I pretty much post everything. I also, you know, when people have learning disabilities too, they often need it. So this way, no problem. Where's my water? And you might be able to just Google diabetes data, county data indicators, and get there as well, if the typing isn't working. So I'll try that. So diabetes. County data indicators, yep. Sorry, I should have told you to do that in the first place. So once you get there, what you're after is, it's this one, yep. Diagnose diabetes incidence. And we're just going to grab all states. So I'd like you to download that into your workspace folder. And in fact, it wouldn't hurt if you made a new folder in your workspace folder called PS1 Practice. And here's where you use your heuristic problem solving to do the workflow, to do a workflow similar to the one that we have done. So, folder, Did anybody use a space? So once you've downloaded it, has everybody downloaded it? Yep, yep. Terrell? You help? Let's see. So here on the website here, so diabetes. So so yeah, just delete that and just the whole thing. Yeah, there you go. So search for county data or county data indicators. They're not all words, actual separate words. Sorry. Data independent diabetes. There you go, it's that first one. Yep. And scroll down and it's diabetes. Yep, and states. Download that to your workspace folder. You can open it if you have a. Does everybody have something to open a spreadsheet with? You'll find out soon enough when you click on that and open it. Usually when you download something, if you open it in Microsoft Excel, it gives you this thing. It says protected view. That's not really necessary to protect you, so you can enable editing safe. And so this has all the counties right here. We'll be dealing with this data in a demo in class. So it has all the counties, and it has fields for number of new cases and the rate per thousand and so forth. There are some statistical things. This might have, oh, yep, and they're by date. So it looks like the latest one is 2013. Woohoo, okay. So we'll be messing with that in a sec. We'll come to that in a sec. So what I want to do now is we're gonna be making a choropleth map. We're gonna make a choropleth map where we add the data, right? So this is data about diabetes by county, and we would like to have a map that shows this data, even though we don't have that in our GIS data. Like, we want to add data to data we do have, put them together to make a choropleth map. And that's what your PS1, your problem set 1 is going to be about. So to start that process, we're going to create a new map. So go ahead and open ArcMap. So if you just installed ArcMap, you may not see it when you just pop up your start menu. But it will be, if you're in Windows 7, you would click All Programs. If you're in one of the other sort of app-like ones, you have Windows 10, is that right? So there's, well, you opened it already. So anyway, ArcMap is one of the items in the ArcGIS folder here. And one thing that you can do is, depending on which operating system you are, find ArcMap. That's the primary software you're going to use, and right-click on it. And you can pin to the taskbar, or if you have a taskbar, and you can unpin or pin to your start menu or make a shortcut. So if you do one of those things and put it where you can find it easily, it'll always be there and you won't have to go hunting for it. You can also, and this is true in all the programs, you can also search for it, ArcMap, and there it is, right? And I find I don't even really think to do it in Windows 7, but I find it easier in Windows 10 or in Windows 8 to search for it. So either way, however you get it, I'd like you to open it. And remember that data I had you download or copy over to your computer from the disks this morning? You're going to need that data. So where is it? See if you can find it using Windows Explorer. Yep. I've got a license. Oh, you haven't. Oh, that's right. You haven't authorized your software. Great. Just in case you can use it. Okay. Now go here. And all apps. And ArcGIS. And are you on the internet? Okay, ArcGIS Administrator. authorize now. And next. Next again. And keep going. Now you just need to paste that. Oh. Of course. Right back. Yeah, and hopefully it'll work this time. Has request. Receiving massive copies. All right, I'm going to have to give you another number. So 1 sec. Sorry. I don't know why. It thinks it's authorized, but it's not, and this just happens sometimes. Another reason why. So, let's see. Sorry, guys. Yeah, authorize now. Get all the way back to where you can do the authorization, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to do the, oh no, I can't do the web activation thing for you. Sorry. You move your computer over there. Log in, let me make you. You can do it on here. So, yeah, we leave that for now, and then we'll get back to it. Did you find your data? Where is it? In your workspace? Yeah. Great. Where's your data?
I don't have Excel.
I'm sorry?
I don't have Excel on this.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant your GIS data.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I can't hear a word.
Facebook.
Okay, awesome. Is it unzipped? Oh, you had the disk anyway. So and is yours unzipped? And you know where your data is? Workspace?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. And so, start now. For you, the data is on the C drive. Oh, start Chrome too. Diabetes county data indicators. Yeah, county data. Oh, and you know what? You can get Microsoft Office for free from the university system. You can, I think that's true of all the campuses, but you're here, so you can definitely get it from here. The other thing is that LibreOffice is a free open source Office suite, and it's totally free, and it reads all the files. Huh?
I might have a copy of my computer.
Oh, of LibreOffice?
Of Microsoft Office.
You'd need a code to activate it. Really? Is it just a student?
I think it's like a cracked version or something.
Okay, well, I don't know anything about a cracked version.
There used to be a computer.
So, let's see. And again, if you just do a Google search for diabetes county data indicators, if the URL doesn't work. So let's see. You don't have Excel or any spreadsheet program, right?
I don't know. You have no spreadsheet program?
No. Okay, you two, let's download LibreOffice right now. Okay, so if you just search LibreOffice, I thought about doing spreadsheets with you guys, Libre Office. Download LibreOffice 5.0. Just did this last week. Oh, these are the released versions. So I guess you want 5.2. There we go. So it even detects the operating system that you're on. So it knows that I'm on Windows. You can just download it. It's 200 megabytes. It should be pretty quick on this system. And then go ahead and install. Yeah. No, there's a workspace environment here. So scroll down. And so you can make a folder in there.
I just figured out how to put Windows on this last week. It took me an entire week to figure it out.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of work. It's true. It's no joke. Yeah, I wish it were easier.
It really isn't that hard. It's just that it doesn't give you a whole lot of information on how to
How to do it, and you have to just.
a lot of playing around.
It's all heuristics and nothing else. Yeah. Installing? It's like opposite. That's right. No, cancel or whatever. Oh, maybe activated. Yeah, it wasn't activated. All right, so you're there and you got AutoMap open? No, not yet. So that. These guys are downloading LibreOffice. Yeah, I think it just okay. Mine's letting you see it. I think you get some grace period. I think I'm not supposed to go around and activate them all. So you know what you can do to prevent a dislocated elbow? I read this on the internet. Avoid falling on an outstretched arm. So helpful. I wish I'd read it before I fell.
You crack your head instead.
That's true, right? I suppose I protected my head. Pretty sick of it. Yep. There you go. Just do what it wants. Give it anything it wants. Get it installed yet, or? So LibreOffice is very much like Microsoft Office. There are a few variations. And generally when I'm teaching spreadsheet stuff, I try to mention some of the differences. So at some point we might do some field calculations in Excel. Probably not this semester, maybe next semester. Oh, did you open David's prior map?
I just opened the door.
Yep, so you open someone else's. Yeah, so I didn't put that right. Yeah, so LibreOffice, super, super useful. So I have LibreOffice on this computer as well because I like to use both to demo. And it has an Access, so a database program. Calc is the Excel analog, so it's just like Excel in many ways. Draw is sort of, so Impress is the slideshow maker like PowerPoint, and Draw is similar to it, but the tools, there are a few more tools that are better for making just layouts and posters rather than slideshows. You can, math is, you can create and edit scientific formulas, and Writer is the Word analog. And it's pretty handy. Before, so I used to only use that for years and years. All right. So hopefully now you're able to see this table. And you have a blank map open in ArcMap. That's the condition I'm hoping we're all going to be in sync. Anybody? Yeah, you got a blank map, and you got your table. You still can't open a table? All right, let's see. So, where'd your table go? Oh, there it is. So choose one. And open. Oh, okay. Close it. If you're jerking your chain, right click on it and choose open with. And choose another app. And LibreOffice app. All the ways, yep. There you go. Okay, I have yet another reason to hate freaking Windows. So what it just did was, so when he went to open it, right, he double clicked it, and he doesn't have Excel, he has LibreOffice. And he went open with. Notice on mine, it recognizes that LibreOffice Calc is capable of opening this program. His didn't show LibreOffice Calc. He had to choose another program. So it was trying to force you into believing the only way to open it was with Excel. Do not be fooled. Just keep going. Those crooks. Okay. All right, you ready? We're going to make a map. It's going to be awesome. Okay. Now that we all have the spreadsheet and we all have a blank map, everybody go to your blank map. And what I'd like you to do is, and you all watched yesterday's class, right? Okay. So what I'd like you to do is open your catalog. I would like you to find the states and the county layer in the GIS data that you had. It's in the Esri data folder in the GIS data I gave you today. And Leslie, yours, since you're on this machine, yours is in the C drive under GIS data. So C, GIS data, Esri data. So I want you to have a map of the states and the counties. Actually, if it's just the states, that would be enough. And now, if you're panicking, because I haven't done it for you yet, think about heuristic problem solving. It's the thrill of the chase. Yeah, it'll be flattened.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, nope, that's okay. We fix. So remember, you need your catalog to do it. Everybody find your catalog yet? What was the face for? You have a very expressive face, Leslie.
Lousy poker player. What's for the answer is in 2010 census?
I know one way to find out.
Well,
And actually, I think yesterday we used data in the USA folder. Randy, you're like all snuggled up to your computer. Oh, that's right. You guys, I might have given you an unfair challenge. Those of you who just installed ArcGIS. And that's because you need to connect to a folder. Aha. So, okay, so your catalog. I'm sorry, I'm a bad GIS moment. Your catalog, if you just installed ArcGIS, there's probably 2 tabs here, catalog and search. So you can expand it there. If your catalog is missing though, you can use this button to get catalog. Also, when you first open it, it auto hides. Like if you click somewhere else, it goes away, and that's really annoying. You want it to stay where it is. So to do that, you click that little pin, and it will stay stuck there. Now, if you've just installed it, I once had a student, I think I told this in class yesterday, who thought somehow ArcGIS had deleted her hard drive because she couldn't find her hard drive in here, and apparently missed the part in the class when I told how to connect to folders. It really should automatically include at least your hard drive as a folder connection, but it doesn't for some reason. You need to add it. And so to add, there are 2 ways to add a folder connection. You can right-click here on the words folder connection here and choose connect to folder, or you can click on that matching icon up here, connect to folder. And this is not navigating to the data layer. This is navigating just to the folder. So let's say I want to make a folder connection to my workspace. I now navigate. Which of these options am I going to use to navigate to my workspace? Computer. Good. So I'll expand that. And there's my C drive. I know my workspace is in there. Click that. And there's my workspace folder. So what I'm going to do is click on it. That's it. I'm not opening it or going into it in any way. That's the folder I want to connect to. And I click OK. Once I do that, under the folder connections, workspace is there. Sorry, I forgot I did that in class yesterday. So your hard drive does exist still. Oh, good. Good. Found it. I know you did it. Yeah. Yeah, drag it. There you go. I think you're using the wrong button. Can you do it? Oh, I see. Ah, yeah. There you go. Good. Try. It's hard to do with that.
I need
Mac.
that. Alright, let's take right with this.
Let's see. There you go. You got it.
Go.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. You got it yet?
Somehow I created a light.
Awesome. You got it. Actually, this stays is fine. But yeah, you're on. All right. Okay. Let's see. A couple of best practices, bits of advice. There's this tendency, I think I caught you doing it. I might have seen a couple of you doing it, to operate on this tiny, teeny little window. And you guys are all on laptops in the first place. This is going to make your life hell if you do this. Wherever possible, maximize the window and manage your toolbars and your windows so you're not looking at your map this big, right? And trying to see stuff. That's all. So manage that. Also during yesterday's class, I talked about how to manage little windows in here and that you can pick them up and wave your pointer over the direction you want them to be plugged into your window. Okay, so states. I'm going to expand GIS data. I'm going to go to Esri data, USA. I got census, and I want states. And then I click and drag. If you're working on, do you have geodatabases, or is it just, do you have little can icons? Yep. Okay, so good, we're all on the same page. So I'm going to click and drag and drop it. So that's how that works. It comes in all funky. I'm not going to spend a lot of time describing how we fix the projection the way it's squashed that way. So I'll just do it and you can follow, because I did go over it in class yesterday. So layers right here at the top, this is the name of our data frame. Let's change that to, we're gonna click, so we select it and then pause and then click again so we can change its name. And I'm gonna call this data frame. Why we call it a data frame will become obvious later. So I now change that word, those words, to data frame. And I need to right click on it. I'm going to right click on data frame and choose properties. And feel free to squawk if I get ahead of you. So again, I right clicked on data frame. I chose properties. And then I chose the coordinate system tab. As I explained yesterday, we've got the US drawn as though it's drawn on a piece of graph paper using the latitudes and longitudes of all the points that form the polygons in the states. And a piece of graph paper is distinctly differently shaped from the globe, right? So we want a more globe-shaped piece of graph paper. And so that's what we're going to do. So to do that, right here where it says geographic coordinate systems, I want to collapse that. So I'm going to click the little minus button right here. And then I'm going to expand the projected coordinate system folder. Anybody remember what we need here under projected? You were just watching, so it's okay if it's not coming back, but it's good to make your mind search and wonder.
World sphere based?
World, well, we're only mapping a National Grid is a good choice. We're actually, I don't even use those. I don't even know if the US has a National Grid. Nope, we don't. But that's a good choice. It's actually, it's a little counterintuitive. It's continental. So we'll expand that. And I think you know which continent you need. So expand North America. And what we want for this is, I will choose USA contiguous Albers equal area conic. USA contiguous Albers equal area conic. When you've got that done, just click OK. And then yes. And now your map should look a little more normal. Take a minute to experiment with your Zoomy tools. These tools up here, to zoom in and zoom out and pan, scoochy, I call it scoochy. Notice that with your zoom tool, zoom in tool, you can click and drag a box. That's a challenge on a Mac touchpad too, but you can drag a box and when you let go, it will zoom in to your box. So that's handy. You're not going to need any more data, so you can make your catalog auto hide. If you click the X, it will go away and you'll have to click the button. But if you just click the push pin, it'll just hide itself inside there. This is where it's going to be boring for you guys because this is early on in the class that you took last semester. But it probably doesn't hurt to review a little bit. Good. All right. Now, we are going to deviate now from what we were doing in class yesterday. So you can watch the video and make a little choropleth map for yourself. And we're going to make multiple choropleth maps over the next week. So you'll see that workflow again and again. So I don't feel like I need to do it here, but we do need to do the adding data to a layer thing. So that's what I want to accomplish today, to make sure that you guys see that workflow. One of the reasons is we're going to be working with attribute tables and spreadsheets, and so I want to show how that will come about. You don't have to remember it, but having the experience of having done it is good. And I am recording this, so you can always look back at it. Although this is a long video because we're doing other things too. So, and I should make sure we're still recording. Yep. So what we're going to do now is I'd like you to select a part of the country, all the states in a part of the country that are interesting to you. And there are a couple of ways to do it. So let's try a couple ways. So for one thing, open the states attribute table. See if you can open the states attribute table. And remember that an attribute table is a characteristic or an item associated with an individual layer. So there's a part of your screen that you work with to do things with individual layers. Ooh, I see one. Is that an attribute table? So, and those context menus, those right-click context menus are your friend. So here's how I get my attribute table. I right-click on the word states, and I choose Open Attribute Table. It will open at the bottom of my screen. If it's the first time you're opening ArcMap, it will open floating like this, and you can dock it by clicking the blue bar at the top and then dragging your pointer to one of the arrows. Okay? So I want you to notice that there's a subregion field find the subregion field. One way that we can select individual select states in a region would be to select one or two subregions. Anybody know how many New England states there are? There are 6. Yep. New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. So I know that if I pick the New England states, I'll have at least 6. I'd like to have, let's shoot for a dozen or so. And to do that, we're going to do a query. And again, there's like 5 ways of doing a query, but for us, we're going to use this selection menu up here. So everybody click the selection and then choose select by attribute. So selection, select by attributes. And you get a little query window. And you guys are about to make your first queries. So I only have one layer in here, so states, that's what I want. I know I want to create a new selection. There's nothing selected yet. And what I want to do is write a query. It's written in standard query language, but we don't have to know the language. We just can click. So we're going to choose subregion equals, and I'll let you choose your subregion. Now, instead of typing it in, click this button right here where it says Get Unique Values. Get Unique Values. And all of the possible values are there. And so there's my New England. I'm going to double click it so it appears in my query. So now my query says subregion equals New England. So build a query that says that. And then click Apply. We're not going to click OK. I don't want to dismiss it yet because we don't quite have enough states. Hopefully now you see 6 states selected out of 51. Number 51 is DC. Is that what you got? Awesome. Okay, now I'm going to choose another contiguous region. Anybody know what region is contiguous with New England? There's only one. And I can even use my identify tool, the little blue ball with an eye on it. I can switch to that briefly and just click on New York here and see what region, what subregion it belongs to. There it is, Middle Atlantic. So now I want to also choose the Middle Atlantic states. Again, there are probably about 7 ways to do that. One way to do it is to change my method up here. Which one do I want? If I want to end out with both New England and Middle Atlantic states, which of these choices do I want?
Add to current selection.
Excellent. Yes, I want the add to current selection. Now I can change my query. So change your query so it says Middle Atlantic instead. Of course.
So could I do subregion equals New England and subregion equals Middle Atlantic?
You can try it. Try it. Does it work?
No, it undid my.
Yeah. So, and here's why. Each individual state has only one. So it cannot be both New England and Middle Atlantic. So what do you call that? The thing that goes in the middle, conjunction. The conjunction matters. It can be either Middle Atlantic or New England. So here's another, if I do create a new selection, here's another way to do it. If I choose and, it can't be both, right? But it can be one or the other. So I can go or, and it has to be the full query. So subregion equals New England. So here my query now says subregion equals Middle Atlantic or subregion equals New England. Now it will look for states that meet one or the other condition instead of both, right? Great question. Okay, so if I click apply, there now I have 9. I think I still need a few more. What's next? It's going to be the South Atlantic. Yep. So, and you don't have to choose my states. You can choose whatever states you want. I want to have about 15. So I'm going to add the South Atlantic states. So go ahead and use your noggin. Now I have 18. That might be too many. I only want 15. So I can fiddle around with queries to get it to unselect, but there's another tool that I can use to help me with selections. It's really handy. You ready? It's this tool up here, the select tool, select features tool. Be very careful with it. If you use this tool and then click somewhere in the rest of your map just randomly, it will unselect everything. So be careful with it, because in this case, it only took us a few seconds to make the query, so it's no big deal. But man, it's a bummer if you've selected 400 items. So I'm going to click Select Features, and I'm going to take my left index finger and I'm going to place it firmly on the Shift key, and I'm not going to remove it while I click. So hold the Shift key down, and I'm going to remove Florida and the Carolinas from Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina to get with 15. So I'm holding my Shift key down, and I click, and I click, and I click, and now they're not selected. Are you having any Mac issue?
No.
Oh, good. Awesome.
I was just selecting something from a different.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't have already selected, just messed up.
And so you can use the same technique. So let's say I wanted to remove North Carolina and add Ohio. I can remove it and then click Ohio, and it will add it. Right? So now I have my 15 contiguous states. Now you guys are rocking. Awesome. Okay, when you have 15 states, we're going to make ourselves a brand new layer out of them.
I'm selecting again, stop.
Let's see.
You press the identify.
No, that's our, oh, you missed the tool.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. It's that.
Oh, okay.
That and hold your Shift key.
Oh, that county's on too. So.
Yeah, you gotta turn your dummies off. Clunk. Okay, so now we're gonna make a brand new file layer. It's called a shapefile. That's the type that we're gonna make. And we're gonna put it in our workspace folder. This is a little thing. You know how I say there's a few things you wanna try and remember? This is one of those things. Because the path, the workflow on ArcGIS is not intuitive for this. So we're going to right-click on the word states, and it would seem that what you want to do is save it as a layer file. Look at that icon. That icon is not indicative of a layer. That is, a layer file is a really, really poor choice that they made for a special kind of file that saves the symbology, the symbols that you might want to use with a layer. It doesn't create a new layer. Okay, so we're going to skip that, and we're going to go to Data, Export Data. We'll do this like 100 times this semester, so it's not, you don't have to like chisel it into your brain or something now, but it's important. You'll run into it again. So Data, Export Data, and you'll get this export data. Now, one thing we want to do is choose what projection we want to use. And our map is in a different projection than it was when we first added data to it. I want to use this new data frames projection. So I'm going to choose the data frame for the coordinate system. I'm exporting the selected features, and look, it's trying to save it in some stupid place that I never knew existed. That's not helpful. So I would much rather put it in my workspace folder. So what do I do to get into my workspace folder?
On the arrow.
Yep, so we want to click on the little browsey button right here. So click browse. And this look in, this is another thing that trips a lot of people up. You want to pull that down. You'll see all your folder connections. So there's my workspace right there. And there's the folder that I'm using for today. Now, also down here, it's looking for one of those little can things, a geodatabase. You can make one, but that's boring. So we're going to just click this down button and choose shapefile. So we're going to choose just a simpler form of data. So the type is shapefile. And I will never, ever, ever, ever allow a layer to be called export output. I'm going to call this selected states. And then I'll save it. Notice that now when we click save, the whole path to our folder is there, and our new name with the .shp that indicates it's a shapefile. Is everybody with me?
I clicked something wrong and lost that, so now I'm.
Oh, then just do it again. So,
I can't remember how to start it.
okay, well that's why you stopped me.
So what I did is
Yep.
it says, do you want to add the exported data to the
What do you
bottom
think?
layer? Yes.
Yeah, so right click and data, export data. Yep, and then you need to right click on the word state. So one really good rule of thumb is to think about what you're operating on, right? So we have two kinds of objects over here in this pane. One is the data frame, which can have multiple layers in it, right? Notice if I collapse the data frame, all the layers disappear. That's because those layers are in it. And so what we're trying to export is our selected items in the states layer. So we're operating on the layer itself. So data, export data. And then click the data frame is the choice we want to make here. And the output is going to be our workspace folder. I'm going to name it, what did I name it? Selected states. No space. I'm going to change the type to shapefile. And I'll click save. I'm making sure that there's my path to my folder and selected states.shp, and then it's ready. And I can click OK. It'll say, do you want to add it to your map? And you say, very, very much so, yes, please. And so there it is. It's there now. We can clear our selected features using this button right here. It's next to the button we use to select. So we can click clear selected features, and we can see that they're a different color. So now we have this special data saved in there for us, right? I'd like you now to close the attribute table of the states layer and open the attribute table of your selected states layer. It should tell you that you have however many states you selected at the bottom of the attribute table. Does it have that right here? And is it the right number? You guys are rocking.
It says 14.
It says what?
14. Oh, minus 0 though.
So you're looking, so right here. See where my pointer is?
Oh, yes, it's 15.
Okay. All right. So there's lots more to know about this, but the key workflow I want to work through is typing in data. And if we have time, I might do a, oh shoot, I was gonna do, we have county layered data, don't we? That's what our table is. Let me just see something. Oh, I'm a bad GIS mommy today. I don't have all my marbles today. That's all right. Okay, I think it's going to be easy to fix. Let me go back here. State data. Table. Yeah, let's do this. And actually, this should be easier to get to. If you look for, search CDC diabetes atlas, it should. That's giving me county data. Second one. Yes. Nope, that's still giving me county data. Oh yeah. Actually, if you go to any of the CDC diabetes data, the state data is one of the options in the menu over here. I'm sorry, you guys. And so, oh, look at this visualization over here, you guys. Just let's take a minute and check it out. Let's see if I can make it bigger. There. Apparently not. Well, looks like Connecticut is stuck on, but so this is really interesting. So we've had this sort of increase, this drastic increase in the amount of diabetes in the US, and this is showing what that looks like. So, and some of the states that have it, Mississippi is probably the worst. It already had some of the highest in the country, and look at this, 12%. More than 1 in 10 people in Mississippi has diabetes, full-blown diabetes, not pre-diabetes. And you can see it's actually going down now, but it topped out at 12. Anyway, sorry, I'm fascinated by that. But if we go to the total, were you able to find this? So, state data. And just look at the table. Table right here. So this allows us to see what the percentage of people with diabetes in each state is, right? And so we can easily look for individual states. Another way to do it would be to look at the map, and I can see it. Oh, it's doing this. There we go. To look at the map, and then I can just wave my pointer on it like this and see what the number is, right? So either way, whatever's easiest. Now, one of my ulterior motives in showing you this way, to have it in 2 different places, is so that I can show you a really useful trick. It's super common that you need to get data from one window and plug it in another window. And with any Windows computer after Windows 7, you can do this nifty trick. So watch up here. I'm going to grab my browser bar right up here, and I'm going to drag it, take it down like this, and I'm going to drag it over until I touch the edge. My pointer touches the edge, and it fills exactly half my screen. See that? So And if I let go, it's filling half my screen. Try that again. So I've got my browser box, right? I guess it doesn't like it when I wave it around like that. Got my browser box, and watch my pointer. I bump it against the side, and it fills the screen, and I just let go. I can do that again with my ArcMap window. Same thing. Grab the top bar and bump it against the other side, and voila. I have the two on opposite sides. So you have to be, I think, Leslie, you're trying to toss it. Are you trying to kind of throw it?
Well, yeah, we're fine.
Oh, what are you doing? Oh, yeah, so close that. I don't know which one did you close. Find the one that you're actually working in. You can actually so, and now drag it. And don't do that toss it, just move it to the touches. There you go. Yeah. All right, and so once you have that going on, life is a little easier to go back and forth. Now, the other thing that you're going to do is you're going to start modifying this attribute table so that you can add those statistics, so that we can make a choropleth map showing these diabetes rates, right? So we need to add a field, a column to our attribute table, a new column. So to do that, make sure you have your selected states. It should say selected states right here. And there's a button. It's the table options button right here. See it right here? If you click that, you get a whole menu, and you want to add a field. And field names, letters, numbers, underscores, start with a letter, nothing else, 10 characters. That's all you get. So this will be diabetes CT. Does that work? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Nope. So I'll call it just diab PCT. So that will stand for percent diabetes. The type, since we have percentages in tenths, an integer, which is just a whole number, won't work. So I am going to use the float. It's called a floating point or float. And again, we'll go over this, but you need to, it's not intuitive at all, but you need to tell it how many digits, how many characters go in that field, and how many decimal places go in that field. So under precision, that's how many characters, including the decimal and the negative sign. So precision, so the highest we know is 12.9% or something like that. They're all going to be positive, so we don't need to worry about a negative sign. So we need at least 2 characters before the decimal. We need 1 decimal, and then we need 1 digit after it, right? So we need at least 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't hurt to add another one just in case. So let's choose 5. So precision of 5, and the scale, we know it's just tenths. So we just need 1 digit after the decimal place. Again, we'll go over this again in class, and we'll click OK. Now, where to go? Turns out it's all the way at the end. There it is. It should be filled with zeros if you've done it right, and it's all the way at the end. This is kind of problematic, though, because we can't see what state it is. So it turns out we can move a field. So I want to move this field now to go be next to the names. So I'm going to click that field so it's selected, then pause. and then click and drag like this. And you can see the red line skipping. Drag it all the way, and you can move it all the way over to the edge, and it will start scrolling quickly to where you can see the state. So you have diabetes and state name right next to each other, like this.
Nice. Awesome. Look at you go. Are you rocking it? This makes so much more sense of why certain layers like only have so many characters on it online. So when
Yes,
you're looking
that's
at the
right.
layers and you don't really understand what it's saying. that makes
Yeah.
so much more sense.
It's true. And so one thing that we can do, and maybe we should just do this right now, is we can give it an alias. We have more leeway in naming it with an alias. And so to do that, we can right-click on that field that we just made and choose Properties. So right on the name of the field, Properties. And under Alias, we can go diabetes %. And here you get all whatever characters you want. No worries about that.
And you can have spaces.
I'm worried about something. I thought these say 0. Oh, okay, well, we'll see. I might have done something wrong when I made it. Hopefully I didn't make you do it. No, you guys didn't do it wrong. Okay, so yeah, you can have spaces, anything. Okay, so now we're ready to add our data. So we need to start editing our layer. To start editing our layer, because right now if you try and type things into these spaces, it doesn't accept it. So in order to be able to edit, we have to say, yo, ArcMap, we want to edit this layer. And so to do that, we need to go up to our data frame, and under data frame, there's our selected states layer. I'm going to right click on that, baby. We're going to choose, not surprisingly, edit features, start editing. When you do that, it'll tell you the states layer isn't editable. That's fine. Just click continue. And it might pop up some extra things. You can close those extra things because you're only interested in this table. Now I can come over here and wave my pointer over the state of Maine and see that the percentage there is 7.8. And under Maine, I can type 7.8. And if I did it right, yep, good. So now do that with each of the states. This will test your knowledge of the states. I'm surprised Massachusetts is higher than Maine's. It doesn't make sense. New York. Pennsylvania, they eat all that scrapple. What was it? 9.6. 1 in 10 people in Pennsylvania. Can you point at DC even?
I was just thinking I had a hard time.
Yeah. And I'll do the rest of them and then see if you can get, you might have to get DC out of the table instead. Maryland 9.2. Let's see, Delaware. West Virginia, oh my gosh. Virginia. All right, let's see if I can get DC. There it is. 9.1. I'm kind of slow at it. Some people are much faster than I am.
You able to find these things?
I was, but I went to the table.
Oh, you
Yeah. What was it? 9.1. All right. Does everybody have the figures typed in there? So once you got them in there, you can save your edits and stop editing. So to do that, you can, oh, did I have you close your editor toolbar? I think I did. So we need to get our editor toolbar back. You can go to Customize, Toolbars, and get Editor. And it pops up. And then under the editor toolbar, just click Editor, Save Edits, and then Editor Stop Editing. So Editor Save Edits, Editor Stop Editing. When we were editing the fields, this little bar up here became, these are gray when you're not editing, and they're white when you're editing. So that's a, it's hard to see on the screen up there, but on mine it's pretty clear. Okay, so we have our last final thing. You can dismiss the attribute table and you can dismiss the editor. I'm going to right click on my selected states and choose zoom to layer and zoom to my layer. There it is. I'm also going to go back to maximizing my window because I'm going to, I don't need the other page anymore. So if I'm doing something with a layer, it would be with a layer in the attribute, in the table of contents, right?
I'm trying to figure out how to zoom to the layer.
Right. So if you're doing something to a layer, you'll be doing it to the layer in the table of contents. Right? So your table of contents has a list of layers, right? And so, and what do we do? There's a, whenever you're in doubt about what to do or where to find something to do with a layer, what do you usually do to it? An idea? She got it. What did you do?
Oh, I right clicked on select.
Good. So you right click. Yeah. So that's the other, that's the sort of thinking that you want to think about is, okay, I'm working on a layer, something I want to do to a layer. Layers are listed in the table of contents, right? And then, okay, well, how do I do something to a layer? Right click on it and see if something looks familiar there, right? And you got it, zoom to layer, like so. All right, okay, last thing. We're gonna make a quick choropleth map. Let's make one like the one we made yesterday. On Monday, we're going to start where we left off yesterday and begin doing classification schemes. So we won't go over that here. You can do that online and that'll be okay. Question? Or just,
No, I just, like, you know, I have another.
oh, okay.
I have another class on Monday.
Oh, so you're not there live, but yeah, that's all right. So, and if you're watching the video and you have questions, shoot me a text. If I can, if I'm right there, I'll answer right away. Okay, so now we're going to do something to this selected states layer. We're going to turn it into a choropleth map. Probably we need to right click on it, right? What do you suppose, where will we go? We're going to change the symbology. Where do we find that?
Convert symbology to representation.
Oh yeah, oh shoot, they added that. That's not it.
Use symbol?
So this is the other catch-all, the properties. We're going to change its properties. And you'll find I'll do that a lot. I'll ask you a question and I'll make you like guess wrong and figure it out. So two things. One is so you don't get all afraid of guessing wrong, right? Which is super common. And the other is because it turns out you learn better when you're grappling and grasping for things, right? When you're wondering and searching. You need to be that. I need to produce just the right amount of frustration and then help you with the answer. Okay, symbology tab, that's not hard. Which of these items under show are we showing? I know we're not showing a single symbol. Do we want categories or quantities? What did we just put in there? Did we put categories or quantities? Yeah, we put quantities in there. So I'm going to click that, and the default is graduated color. That's a choropleth map. That's what we want. And over here, there's a field. What field do we want it to get the values from?
Diabetes percent.
Good, diabetes percent, the one that we created. You can choose that and click apply. Just drag your window away so you can see it. So there's one view of it. Congratulations, you have made your own map. And I'm really worried about West Virginia. But remember we talked yesterday about the classification system. And so instead of natural breaks, I would like to use quantile again. So I'm going to click classify here. And under method, I'm going to choose quantile. Quantile divides it into groups with the same number of members in each group, right? So I have 15 states here, 5 classes. That means each group will have 3 states in it, right? That's how quantile works. So I'll click that and I'll click OK, and then I'll click OK to change my map a little bit. And so now I can see a little bit more, right? So I can see that. And oh, let's label our states too. That would be helpful. How about with just their abbreviations? Let's go back into our properties window. So right click on the selected states layer and choose properties. Which tab do you suppose we need to mess around with labels? Labels. So I'll label the features in this layer with this checkbox, and then under state name for the field, let's choose the state abbreviation field, state ABBR. And now I'll click OK, and I'll have each of them. And DC is so tiny. It's a surprisingly healthy city, though, actually. So it's not really a concern here. And so now I can see that Ohio, West Virginia, and Delaware have the worst problem. And Maine, surprisingly enough, this is really interesting to me. Maine, surprisingly enough, is in the lower bracket. If we go to that spreadsheet, by the way, go down to Maine Come on, Maine. Okay, so there's Maine. And I find Washington County. Look what it is here. 11.3% in Washington County. So we have more in common with West Virginia than we do with the rest of the state. And I'm not saying something. Aroostook County, I think, has the highest. Yes, it does. 13% in Aroostook. So, yeah, it's not all pretty, but there are lots and lots of people in southern Maine riding their bicycles and taking Zumba. So it sort of sets it off. All right. So now, if you'd like to save this map, and then we'll do one last thing, and I'm going to let you go. So File, Save As, and save it in your workspace folder. I've got my PS1 practice in here, and I'll call this Diabetes Eastern US.
So I accidentally ended up with 16 states, and when I picked quintile, so I'm wondering,
Yep.
did it just do 5 groups instead?
Yeah, so it uses I think it uses a natural breaks method to choose where to put the last, right? So it choose which one it goes into. Yeah. And there's like documentation just like crazy about all the methods in the software documentation. So if you really need to know how it's selecting, and you may run into something like that, if you need to know how it's choosing, that will be in there. Okay, so the last thing I want you to do, why don't we do it this way? So see up here at the top of the table of contents, there are these little icons. Right now it's under list by drawing order, and that's great. You can also click this, list by source, and I want to show you something. You can expand your table of contents by waving your pointer until it's a double arrow and pull. And I want you to notice something really important, that the map document, that's what we're looking at here, is drawing data that's stored somewhere. And when you just saved it, you did not save the layers with the map document. And so before we see each other in person again, you're going to hand in a problem set. And it's super common for me to get, especially that first problem set, where somebody goes to hand in their problem set, right? And they go to their workspace folder. Here it is. And they hand in this map document right here. Right? If you hand in that map document and I open it here on this computer, that's not on your computer, it will come up blank. It will be empty. And that's because these layers are not stored with it. They're stored in these locations, right? And not only that, over here, so my selected states, all these files, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 files. This will go away when I close the map. But there's 8 files. Those all make up that selected states file. And so there's a special way to package maps, and I'll be showing it in class. But I want to emphasize this to you because you're going to be packaging your maps on your own, right? And it's always a bummer when I get it and I give you like a few points off if you don't do it the first time. But if it's in your final project and you still haven't learned about that thing about that the map documents don't store data, then your grade will be, you know, probably it will have been impacted increasingly over the course of all our problem sets, and then in your final project I'll be trying to find you on your internship in Timbuktu to help, you know, figure out what happened to all your data. I once had a guy hand in his project like that and then just delete everything because he was sick of it. And he just deleted it. I'm like, oh no. I think at least some of it we were able to retrieve. I can't even remember. Might have been in this recycle bin or something, but oh, yeah. So be very careful of that and pay attention when I go over it in class, because you will, it'll happen. You'll do it someday during this semester, and that's okay, but better to do it in an innocuous setting. All right. That's all I have for you guys today. Yes, and I will help you. Your lovely computer will
So
get
you'll
it.
show us how to package all that up later.
Yes, yeah, and it's actually really simple. It used to be really complicated. You used to have to open the code of the map document and edit it. And so now now it's just a wizard. I will tell you those, you know, when I was a kid, I walked uphill to school both ways sort of stories back in the good old days. So yeah, our view 3, that's how it was done. You edited the code. And that's one of the reasons why people still use like old IBM computers with that old software on it, because none of their data can move and they don't know how to edit the code of the map documents to make them work. And it's not even, doesn't even use programming language that anyone uses anymore. It uses Avenue. I haven't heard about that in a decade. Yeah. Well, I learned it and then they stopped using it. So now I just stumble along in Python and VBA. But I do very little programming, which is kind of nice. Thanks, guys. It's a marathon, but not as long a marathon as it could have been.
So I guess I'll see you at the conference in a couple of weeks.
Yes. Yeah, that'll be great. Yay. All right. So we had to do a workaround